IVM.
Hello and welcome to the Habit Coach Podcast, the bite-sized podcast filled with quick and easy, actionable habits. Remember, great habits create that awesome life. I am Ashton Doctor, your habit coach. And today I want to talk about motivation, grit, and self-discipline. We live in a world where motivation, grit, and self-discipline are given such high regard. Yet, I think it's rubbish. Believing that only when you have the motivation or self-discipline, you will do something well is where the problem lies. Then, we believe that we are not born with that self-discipline. It's not in our DNA. It doesn't exist in us. So we use this lack of self-discipline as an excuse to fail, or worse, as an excuse not to start. Now I want to tell you a story, and this story might resonate with you. Back when you were in school, did you ever notice how you lacked the self-discipline to study on a regular basis? You would sit at your desk and look out the window. You just could not seem to focus, nor could you get yourself to start studying. There was just so many other interesting things to do. You could hear your friends playing downstairs and wished you were with them. I know all of us must have felt like this at some point, and those of you in college now feel the same way. I get a lot of messages from students asking me how to help them focus on their studies. Now, suddenly out of nowhere, your exam appears. They seem so far away, but now it's just 3 days away. What will happen? Suddenly, you're able to study late into the night. Suddenly, you ignore everything around you. Suddenly, you develop this superhuman ability to focus. And suddenly, you got your self-discipline. Does that sound familiar? I can guarantee this has happened to every single one of us listening to this podcast. I can guarantee this is happening to you right now. Your deadline is appearing and you have to work like crazy to write that presentation for your boss. And if I'm completely honest, as I write this podcast, I have 3 hours until the time of my recording. It's about 6:30 in the morning now and I started at 6. You see, we all have this ability to switch on our self-discipline, grit, or motivation qualities. We just need to learn how to do it more consistently and every day. What we realize is that as soon as the exams or the deadline appeared, we suddenly got a purpose to do that thing. Till that deadline appeared, we did not have a strong enough why. And your why or your purpose is a deep-seated desire to do something. It becomes so important to us that everything else falls by the wayside. It's like we have blinkers on. You know those flaps that cover the eyes of a horse so they can only look straight ahead and not get distracted by the things around. If you complain of a lack of self-discipline, motivation, or grit, then you have not yet found a purpose in that action. You have not found the why. Most of us believe that we need a big, giant purpose in life. A purpose that will make us want to jump out of bed every morning. A purpose that will make us want to push. A purpose that will make the world a better place. Yes, and while all that is true, we also need a purpose for the smaller things we do. Let's look at an example. You've been trying to lose fat for the last 2 years now. But imagine if you're getting married in 6 months. That marriage will suddenly give you that superhuman ability to resist the chocolate pastry. It'll make you go to the gym 5 times a week. It'll give you that self-discipline you lacked all this while. A more morbid example is that of disease. Most of us only think about our health when we realize that we have a disease. Suddenly, we become health conscious, start drinking green juice and going for walks. Now, I want you to realize something. You had that self-discipline inside you all this time. You just did not know how to turn it on. You did not know how to tap into it. Whenever you want to bring about a change in your life, you have to first start with a strong, solid why. Why is doing this important in your life? What are the consequences of it not happening? I focus on my health so much, not because I want abs, but because I never want to live in a hospital bed. I wake up at 5 a.m. every day not because I like it, but because I need peace and quiet for the work I'm putting out. There's a lot I need to do, and this is the way I get more time. I do this podcast, I make videos, I write articles, not because I want attention. I do this because I believe in my soul that our lives are easy to change if only we stop relying on motivation, self-discipline, and grit. All we need is a strong why. We often get scared by this big idea of life's purpose. It's too big, it's too scary. Instead, think of your life with many little whys instead. Each why just focuses on one aspect of your life. A why for your health, a why for your stress, a why for your family life, a why for your financial stability, and a why for your job or something else. Once you have your why in place, now you can focus on the consistency of your daily habits. Habits that you can learn from this podcast. Habits that you want in your life. Don't wait for a deadline. Learn to create your small whys instead and build consistency into your habits. So start these habits and share with us your progress using the hashtag #TheHabitCoach. If you like this podcast, don't forget to check out other interesting podcasts on the IVM network. You can listen to us on the IVM Podcast app or ivmpodcast.com. You can also follow us on social media. We are at IVM Podcasts on Twitter and Instagram. If you want to reach out to me, I am Ashdin Doc on Twitter and Instagram. You can find lots more information on my website, awesome180.com, or check out different content on my YouTube channel called AWESOME180. That's Awesome180.
Filter coffee is a fascinating beverage. You need to pick the right beans, blend them in the right proportion, roast them to perfection, and slow brew at the right temperature to get the perfect cup. Which is exactly like great conversations as well. You need to track down the most interesting minds, get them into their zone, and settle down for an unhurried, unscripted chat. And coffee for me is always best enjoyed with friends. I'm Karthik Nagarajan, and do share my table as I meet some of the most interesting people I know and sit them down for a strong cup of coffee and an even stronger conversation. Join me every Wednesday for a freshly brewed episode. This is not frappe. This is the Filter Coffee Podcast.
माणसं गोलगप्प्यासारखी असतात. हाय हॅलो करताना वेगळी आणि बोलताना वेगळी आणि गप्पा मारताना वेगळी, मित्र झाली की वेगळी आणि शत्रू म्हणून वेगळी, थोडक्यात दिसणारी वेगळी आणि असणारी वेगळी, कधी आंबट, कधी गोड, कधी तिखट, तर कधी चमचमीत आणि कधी कधी हॉट अँड स्पायसी सुद्धा. आणि म्हणूनच गप्पा गोल गप्पा विथ तृप्ती खामकर फक्त तुमच्यासाठी दर बुधवारी IVM पॉडकास्टच्या ऍपवर, वेबसाईटवर किंवा युट्यूब चॅनलवर सुद्धा ऐकू शकता. तुम्ही आमचा पॉडकास्ट वेगवेगळ्या पॉडकास्ट प्लॅटफॉर्मवरती ऐकू शकता. फक्त सर्च करा गोल गप्पा विथ तृप्ती खामकर आणि आमचा पॉडकास्ट ऐकत रहा.